Welcome to Step Media, my channel viewers. Today I'm going to cover the last of this series related to RTO Standards 2025. Today we are going to cover three schedules, having completed the four quality outcomes of the 2025 standards. Following this vlog, from the next time onwards, I'll be looking towards explaining that based on the RTO Standards 2025, how to design your training and assessment strategies, other RTO policies, contracts and agreements, so they meet the compliance requirements. Having said that, let's move on to today's topic. It is understanding Schedules 1 to 3. It involves fit and proper person, NRT logo, and repeals. These are critical in ensuring that RTOs operate with integrity, meet the public expectations, confidence, and comply with national regulations. This is the final part of the RTO Compliance Standards 2025 and fall under the section of the National Wet Regulator Act. So let's look into the Schedule 1. Schedule 1 focuses on the legal, ethical, and financial fitness of the people those will be in charge of the RTOs, either as CEO or as member of their board of directors, or as RTO managers, or in a position in which they are making high-level decisions related to the RTO's operations. So what are the legal focuses? ASQA focuses on past or current involvement in offences, court actions, or regulatory breaches. From the ethical perspective, it evaluates patterns of dishonest, misleading, or unethical conduct in education or businesses. On the financial front, it reviews insolvency, bankruptcy, or financial mismanagement or debt to the government. So let's apart from this, it also focuses from all these aspects and your previous dealings, the individual's previous dealings with either TEQSA, ESOS, and VSL. Now, what are these organizations? Let me explain a little bit. TEQSA, or Tertiary Education Quality and Standards Agency, is Australia's national regulator for higher education, ensuring quality and compliance in universities and other higher education providers. You can consider it as equivalent to ASQA, which look after wet sector or RTOs, as the one TEQSA is the one that governs the universities or higher education being delivered as Australian education in Australia. ESOS stands for Education Services for Overseas Students Act 2000. This is a legislative framework that protects international students and sets quality standards for education providers offering courses to overseas students in Australia. And finally, what is VSL? This is Wet Student Loans. It replaced the Wet Fee Help Scheme in 2017. It is regulated under the Wet Students Loan Act 2016. Only approved providers can offer VSL supported courses. These are loan caps depending on the course. Students repay the loan through the tax system. Once their income exceeds the repayment threshold, direct debit starts taking place. If you are working with an RTO, compliance with VSL regulations where applicable is essential, and breaches can affect the organization's fit and proper person standing under Schedule 1. So I hope it explains all the VSL legal, ethical and financial matters. Those applies to RTOs and its senior management. Let's move on to Schedule 1.2, which is compliance with the law. It focuses on criminal offenses, in foreign offenses and current proceedings. Now, when applicants apply for new RTO registrations, or if there is a change in the existing RTOs in the senior management positions, ASQA is going to review the applications as who would be the person in charge or looking into directing RTO's operations. So let's briefly review them, and then I will explain with examples what are these. So criminal offenses, any breach of the law where a person has been found guilty even if no conviction was recorded. Foreign offenses, criminal act committed outside Australia that are recognized under Australian law, such as under the Crimes Act 1914. Similarly, current proceedings are the current ongoing legal cases or tribunal matters that may impact the person's suitability to manage or operate RTOs. This is all about trust. An individual undergoing court action for misleading students overseas could be disqualified from RTO governance here. The idea is to safeguard Australia's wet reputation. And let me stress on it, it doesn't only apply to foreign students. Even if the behavior against the local students is incorrect and repeatedly time reported, or some serious incident has been reported, that person may not be considered as fit and proper for any future roles in the RTOs by the ASQA or regulatory authority. Coming towards crime law, we explained any breach of the law where a person has been found guilty. Example can be someone who was found guilty of fraud or assault, but the judge decided not to record a conviction. It still counts. It shows a pattern of behavior relevant to whether this person should be allowed to manage an RTO. So it may be considered. So it's better not to hide. If there is enough evidence in front of the regulatory authority that yes, conviction was not recorded, and the person has subsequently done enough good work and no more bad behavior has been reported, they may still consider that person's application as not rejectable, or they may approve. But it all depends how effectively the person has provided his or her information. Foreign offenses, as mentioned, crimes committed outside Australia and person has been convicted. It doesn't mean that the person coming back to Australia and can start RTO's management, governing. It is still considered seriously by the regulatory authorities of RTOs. And so just don't assume that overseas conviction doesn't matter. If they would be illegal here, they are considered in assessing your fit and proper status. So even if you are going to try to hide and not report, and it is subsequently discovered that will go even more seriously against the person. As far as current proceedings are concerned, in other words, the case is still in front of the court, no conviction or no verdict has been made. It doesn't mean you don't have to report in case you are filing the information to be part of the RTO management committee or board. So you must report it. It will still be considered even if no legal action or verdict has been declared. You must disclose it, even if so in other words, it will still be considered by the regulatory authorities that what type of case proceedings is going on, and regardless whether the outcome is favorable or unfavorable, especially unfavorable, they may not consider you fit and proper. And if the case is of the nature that there is a possibility of you getting relieved as evidences those are submitted along are good enough, your application may still not be rejected, but it all depends on the regulatory authority, and they may wait for the outcome of the proceedings. So there can be different options in front of the regulating authority. What I want to stress here is, do not hide, let it be shared. It's safer for you, safer for the community, safer for the regulatory authority. The next schedule 1.3, still the schedule 1, is related to management history. Once again, focusing on the person who is leading or heading RTO's operations. Focus is on past registration, cancellation, suspensions, or breaches of conditions like funding rules, or disqualification under corporation acts. All these things matter. So I can explain these with some examples, that if you are applying for a new RTO, your past matters. If your last RTO was shut down or not, for not refunding students, that becomes relevant. If you are using a new business name, so changing the name will not make any differences. Example 1. A company previously registered as an RTO had its registration cancelled for delivering non-compliant assessments. If the same owner reapplies under a new name of business or the RTO, ASQA will closely examine their management history. Example 2, related to breach of conditions. An individual disqualified under the Corporation Act due to mismanaging a failed education business could automatically be flagged under Schedule 1.3. So disclose and let the regulatory authorities decide whether you are fit or not. Continuing to the next slide, it's Schedule 1.4 to 1.6, financial and ethical fitness matters. So focus is on bankruptcy, misleading information, and ethics. So bankruptcy or insolvency history. It examines your past financial failures, including insolvency, bankruptcy, or administration events that raise doubt about financial responsibilities. Similarly, false information to regulators assesses whether the person has ever knowingly provided misleading or inaccurate details to a government body or a regulator. Unethical conduct patterns cover or looks into the evidence of repeated dishonest and improper behavior, even if not criminal, that indicates poor professional integrity. any previous findings of being unfit across education sector, patterns of unethical behavior is a red flag. Example, submitting inflated students' number to receive funding may not be criminal offense but still counts as unethical behavior and can bar you from future RTO roles. Bankruptcy examen can be past financial failures, including insolvency, bankruptcy. Similarly, false information to regulators assess whether the person has ever knowingly provided misleading or inaccurate details to the government or regulator. That includes responding to complaints and appeals. Unethical conduct, patrons looks at evidence of repeated dishonest or improper behavior, even if not criminal, that indicates a poor integrity. Moving on to Schedule 2. Schedule 2 overviews NRT Logo Rules, or how to use a NRT logo, which is a registered trademark and can be used by RTOs when they are delivering any AQF approved qualifications or courses, including skill sets. So the things which are covered are trademark logo for AQF certifications only. So NRT logo is a registered trademark and must only appear on documents that certify nationally recognized training. So that you can use even in the marketing areas, or definitely must use on the certificates, which are AQF courses or qualifications, skill sets. You can provide that, or you can have that logo printed on them. It's a requirement, it's a recognition. The logo confirms that whatever certificate you are issuing is a nationally recognized course, qualification, or skill set. Must align with the scope of registration. RTOs can only use the NRT logo when promoting or issuing qualifications that are within their approved training scope. So every RTO has a scope of registration which specifies which courses they can deliver in which state or all over Australia. And only for those courses which are on their scope of registration, they can use this NRT logo for. So prohibited use such as includes merchandise, non-wet courses. So the logo cannot appear on promotional products, business items, or any training that is not nationally recognized. Promotional items, like many RTOs produces, like when students induction programs are there, they provide kind of promotional bags, including their the writing material, the pads or the notebooks which have logo of their RTOs. So they are eligible to provide their own logo on those promotional items, but they cannot put NRT logo, because NRT logo is only and only specifically related to the training courses which are approved by AQF. What mandates is that these must appear on AQF certifications only. Or when you are advertising, you can still use it, but only for the courses which are AQF recognized. Think of it as a certification stamp. Misusing it, even on a social media post for a non-wet course, it can trigger compliance action. So be very careful about it. The logo isn't just for branding, it signals national trust. Example, an RTO offering a non-accredited short course in social media marketing. If use the NRT logo on its flyer, this is a serious breach because this short course is not nationally recognized, not AQF approved. Another example can be a training provider printed the NRT logo on branded merchandise, for instance, pen or mugs, giving out at expos. Even though the RTO is registered, this use violates the rules. So do not breach. Example 3 can be a provider issued a certificate for a customs leadership workshops with NRT logo on it. Since the course was neither accredited nor within their scope, this was a non-compliance. Moving on to Schedule 2.4, 2.5, correct use cases. So focus is on mandatory on AQF certificates. Promotional material must distinguish wet and non-wet courses. No rotation or mirroring of the logo. It must appear on testimonials and statements like statements of attainments. Allowed on ads only if the training is within the scope. AQF courses must clearly distinguish between wet and not wet offering. Examples: if you run a diploma of digital marketing that's not nationally accredited, you must not display the NRT logo even in your promotional flyers. Second example is an RTO issued a certificate for a recognized certificate 3 in aged care, but forgot to include the NRT logo. This omission is non-compliance. It is also non-compliance. So where you cannot put NRT logo and you place, that's a non-compliance. And where you are supposed to or you must place the NRT logo and you do not place, that is also a breach. Another example, a provider's brochure listed both accredited and non-accredited courses, but the layout made it unclear which were nationally recognized. This creates a misleading impression. This is also a breach of the policy, violates it. Finally, another example that a graphic designer stylized the NRT logo by flipping it to face the other direction on a social media post. Even a small alteration like this is prohibited. So keep the logo of NRT as it is. Do not change even the colors, the shape, the direction. In any case, it will be considered as a breach. Finally, 2.6 logo design standards. Let's focus on the NRT logo a little more. Colors specified are PMS 343 green or PMS 192 red. Only these specific colors are permitted for colors reproductions of the NRT logo. No variation is allowed. As I was explaining earlier, no change in colors, no change in shapes, no change of the logo directions. Font, once again, it is very clearly specified and all RTOs must adhere to it. It's Fritz Quadrata, no substitutions. In other words, the NRT logo must use the official typeface and descriptor. Any other fonts means no, non-compliance. Finally, no alterations to proportions. The logo size can change, but the shape and proportions between the triangle and descriptor must remain exactly the same. Once again, must use official green PMS 343 or red PMS 192, font Fritz Quadrata only, no stretching, mirroring or alterations allowed. In other words, let me explain the same things with few examples. An RTO used NRT logo in navy blue to match their corporate branding. This breaches the design standards. Only the approved green and red or black and white in one color cases are allowed. Another example, a provider replaced the Fritz Quadrata typefaced in the NRT logo with Arial for consistency across the document. This again changes the specified font and it will land you in trouble because this is also considered as a breach. Another example, a marketing designer stretched the logo to make it fit a horizontal banner. Sorry. Even though the colors and fonts were correct, distorting the proportion or the shape is also not allowed and it will also be considered as a violation. So in nutshell, just make sure that the logo appears as it is in the colors, the fonts, the shape does not change. Schedule 3, the final of the 3 schedules. It is related to repeal. It focuses on the fully repeal of 2015 RTO standards. And the second thing it focuses upon is the transition to 2025 standards. What it says simply is that from 1st of July 2025, RTO Standards 2015 are obsolete. So all RTOs must ensure none of their policies or any documents, contracts, agreements refer to the 2015 standards. Everything, all the policies, all the strategies like training and assessment strategies, their timetables, their RTO operational policies, their agreements, their contracts, they all must refer from July 1, 2025 onwards to only and only RTO Standards 2025. Let me explain this as in examples. The repeal is not just symbolic. All policies must now reference the 2025 framework. For example, student welfare must now reflect quality area 2, not standards 5 of 2015. Example, a training organization still reference standard 5 informed and protected from the 2015 framework in its student handbook. This must be updated to reflect the relevant outcome 2 under the 2025 standards. Another example, an RTO internal audit process is still mapped against the 2015 structure. Under the 2025 reforms, they must now audit against the 4 quality areas and their respective outcomes, especially those dealing with governance, student support, and integrity of training. Finally, let me recap the summary of what we presented today or we covered today. It's in a form of recap. The 3 schedules are concerned with fit and proper, so disclose all legal and financial history. Ensure all governance personnel truthfully disclose past offenses, insolvency, and ethical issues, even if not criminal. Number 2, NRT logo, follow branding guidelines strictly. Only use the NRT logo in approved format, context, color, and fonts. Do not modify it. Number 3 is repeal update policies by compliance deadline, and compliance deadline is 1st of July 2025. So make sure none of your RTO documents, operations, systems, they are referring or marketing for that matter, anything related to RTO Standards 2015. Everything is mentioned or reference to 2025 quality, 4 quality areas in their outcome or the schedules. Final tip before I conclude my session today is to conduct an internal audit checklist. Check your website, student handbooks, and even trainer business cards. Ensure there is no outdated logo, usage, or policy reference. For instance, I can give an example. A prospective RTO director forgets to disclose a past ASIC disqualification for company mismanagement. Even though this may not be related to the ASQA registered RTO, it is still a disqualification. It must be disclosed to ASQA registration process, even if it was issued many years ago. Another example, RTO uses the NRT logo on a promotional mousepad handed out at a career expo. This is a non-compliance and could trigger regulatory actions, even though the training itself is valid. And final example, a compliance manager updates their policies but forget to align them with the new outcome structures in the 2025 standards. Student welfare and data protection policies must now align with the outcome 2 and outcome 4. I hope today's session helped. From the next vlog onwards, I will be taking up the templates for different policies, contracts, agreements, and especially to start with will be the training and assessment strategy. That is arguably the most important document, because based from this document, many things are extracted: the assessments, the training schedules, the mode of deliveries, the duration of the course. So if you have your TES correct and you extract your other policies out of it, which are relevant to TES, then the chances that you are compliant will be high. So till we meet again to discuss the format of TES, it's goodbye from my side. You take care, and we hope for a compliant future together.